Are you trying to save some money on food? I'm gonna share my best tips and tricks in this video and answer some of your questions about food budgeting. Let's do it. Hey there, I'm Talia, founder of Workweek Lunch, and thank you so much for coming back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm here to help you with all things meal prep, cooking, intuitive eating, and saving money on food, which is why I started meal prepping, and you can learn all about that journey and my thoughts on food budgeting in the first video in the series. So if you missed that, go down to the description, we'll link it there. This video though is all about how to actually save money on food once you've decided you need to start spending less. So first I'm gonna get into my favorite tips and then I'm gonna answer a few of your questions. There are a lot of ways to save money on food. I'm gonna share what works best for me, and in the comments if I miss any, please share what works for you. The more the merrier with these tips, you know, the more things people can try, the better. So tip number one, the one that impacts my grocery bill more than anything, is shopping my pantry. I even have a shirt, I should be wearing it. It says shop your pantry. Use what you already have. Your freezer, your fridge, your pantry. If you have rice, pasta, frozen protein and vegetables, use that up. That way you will not have to buy more stuff at the grocery store and you will end up saving money. If you do that for a month, I can guarantee you will save a lot of money on food. Then when you go to the grocery store, all you have to do is buy the things you're missing, like maybe a couple pieces of produce or, you know, some extra ingredients, but you'll be working with what you already have and spending less at the store. It is the best feeling to use up that last sad bag of vegetables in your freezer, so I encourage you to do it. So this one's a little bit trickier, but you can save money by shopping what's on sale at the supermarket and the grocery store. The tricky part of this is that it's harder to plan around what's on sale because you might not know until you are physically there, you know, that certain pieces of produce or items are on sale, but you can definitely do that. Whenever I give myself a budget challenge, I usually end up shopping only the sales and I'm able to meet my budget goal for that week. But again, you have to get more creative with the meal planning. It does work though. Bulk shopping. Bulk shopping is a great way to save money on food. It involves basically buying a lot of one ingredient at one time to save money, and it lasts a very long time. The key is to bulk buy ingredients that last, so that's gonna be your pastas, oats, rice. I have a whole video on what I buy at Costco and my pantry, so you can check that out there for like a full list of what I buy in bulk. If you're someone who doesn't have a ton of storage or you don't necessarily need, you know, 25 pounds of rice, understandably, you can find a friend to split it with, or maybe your neighbor or your partner, someone to split it with. That is the way that you can bulk shop as one person with not a lot of storage. Eating plant-based. As you know, Workweek Lunch is not about giving diet advice. I would never say, hey, you have to go plant-based to save money, but it is definitely an option. Plant-based proteins like chickpeas and tofu tend to be less expensive than chicken, beef, and all the animal proteins. So this is one creative way to play with your diet. If you feel like you are in a good place to do that in your recovery journey, if you're in one right now, to play with it, that's another way to save money. It's definitely worked for me. We incorporate a lot of vegan meals in our regular rotation, and I think it definitely helps our grocery bill. Another one, batch cooking. Obviously, I'm here as a meal prep expert. Batch cooking is probably the number one way I've saved money through the years. If you are already cooking a recipe, why not make as much of it as you can, especially if you can freeze it. You can find our freezer video down below as well. We have a whole bunch of recipes for the freezer, but I would say if you can stretch your ingredients farther, you'll be stretching those food dollars farther, and it's a great way to save money on food. Again, if you don't like leftovers, that tip is not for you, but if you can handle eating leftovers while thinking about all the money you're saving, definitely go for it. Okay, this is a tip that I have not tried before, but my brother, who is also he's more frugal than me, he loves to shop at different stores to get the sales. So he'll go to like all types of different stores around his area and find the sales, go to the, you know, specific store to get this thing on sale and that thing on sale. Like, that is one way you can definitely save money. However, it takes more time. So if you have the time for that, go for it. If not, maybe skip that one. But I would say if you have like some kind of grocery outlet or bargain store that you can get stuff at, check it out. You might save a lot of money. Okay, the last tip, probably the number one tip, you know, of course this helps, is meal planning. Meal planning is a great way to make sure that everything you buy at the grocery store actually gets used in a meal and doesn't go into the trash. Because food that you throw in the trash is basically the same as throwing money in the trash, and it's worse for our environment. So make a meal plan. Again, that's what we specialize in. So if you want us to meal plan for you, you can sign up for the Workweek Lunch Meal Prep program down below, or you can also check out a free $25 budget meal plan we have available down below. I hope that you check it out. It's $25 for 5 days for one person. It covers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's a PDF. It's free. Go check it out. But yeah, meal planning is really important when it comes to saving money. It's hard to stick to a meal plan. That's the challenge though. Like, you can plan out the whole the week of meals, and you can grocery shop for them, but you might not eat them, right? So that is the trick, is planning meals you will actually look forward to, which is something we specialize in. So again, we can help you. You can check out all of our videos on meal planning. Hopefully you'll find something helpful in there. So those are my main tips for saving money on food. Again, there are so many different ways that I didn't even cover. That's what has worked for me and my family, so I hope that helps. Now I would love to get into your questions. So I had an Instagram post a few weeks ago where I asked for your specific questions about food budgeting and where you might be getting stuck. So I'm gonna answer those questions now. Oh, there's one more tip I forgot that has helped me so much, and that is making my own snacks. I do not buy anything in a package for snacks except for chips. And it's not because it's a health thing, it's just because I can make my own popcorn, muffins, hummus, granola. These are things I used to buy a lot. I no longer buy because I make them at home. It saves me a lot of money. Also cookies and other desserts, I just don't buy them in the store anymore. Of course, if I really want to, I will, but I know I can make it at home for a lot cheaper. So that is another tip to save money in the store. Okay, getting into the questions. I have them here. How can you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables on a budget? So the move here is to shop in season. Whatever's in season near you, you can Google this, you can look it up, find out what is in season right now, wherever you live, and that's gonna be what's cheaper at the grocery store. Also, don't forget about frozen fruits and vegetables. They usually taste great because they're frozen at their peak, and sometimes they are cheaper than buying a bunch of berries or whatever green vegetable you want. I love using frozen vegetables in cooking, and I recommend that you check it out. If you, maybe it will be cheaper than the fresh one, maybe not, but it's always worth looking into. What if you live in an area where produce is expensive? I've actually gotten this question a lot, and I'm not gonna say, hey, just move. You know, this is something that you can't really control if food is more expensive where you lived, and that is, you know, crappy, but you have to make adjustments. You have to get creative. You have to look at your budget again and see if you can account for the fact that food is more expensive, or maybe invest in a deep freezer so that you can make your ingredients last longer, or shop somewhere else. Maybe you have to drive farther away to get the cheaper groceries. You know, those are the two ideas for you, but again, it's not like you can just move, you know, just because groceries are expensive. It's gonna require some creativity. So this one also came up a lot. How do you balance wanting variety in food but not wasting it? This is like the golden question, because buying in bulk, you know, getting the cheap ingredients can be sometimes very repetitive, and that's not fun. So I think I have a couple tips for this. Tip number one would be meal planning, right? If you're buying something like a bunch of herbs and you know they're gonna go bad quickly, how can you plan meals so that you can use that bunch of herbs in everything? That's one idea. Two, always Google how to freeze certain things. There are so many different ways to freeze and make items last. Search how to make things last longer in your fridge, because then you can definitely avoid wasting them. And if you are freezing a lot of stuff, make sure that you get a whiteboard for your freezer so you can easily keep track of what's in there and what you can use up. Okay, another question that comes up a lot is, what ingredients are worth splurging on? Well, the ingredients worth splurging on, it's very much based on what you care about. You know, I know some people who are really picky about cheese and the quality of their cheese. I personally am not. So again, it depends on what you care about, what matters to you. You should definitely make room in your budget for splurges that really make a difference to you based on what you care about. So this is more of a budget question, but how do you factor in bulk buys? So yeah, that's the hard part, right? Because you will maybe go grocery shopping every week, but what if you go to Costco once every few months like I do? How do you factor that into your budget? It's not perfect science, right? So you're gonna have to take the average of what you spend every few months when you do bulk buys and just kind of average that out per month. That's what I do. You know, we go to Costco, we try to go once a quarter, so it's once every 3 or 4 months, and we spend, you know, anywhere from $300 to $500. So we figure we spend about $100 a month at Costco. It's not perfect, but that's what we do. Also, again, if maybe you're not a Costco person, but once in a while you might have to stock up on flour or oil or something else at the regular grocery store. Again, food budgeting is really hard because it's not a fixed you know, expense like rent and phone bills and stuff. So you're gonna have these kind of ups and downs with your budget. That's normal. Expect them. I love this question. What is your advice for impulse buying? So my trick for impulse buying, which is when you go to the store and you have to grab something that's not on your list because you want it so bad and you put it in the cart, but you repeat that times 10. For me, I allow myself one impulse buy per trip. And if I see more than one thing I really want, I always tell myself I can go back to the store the next day or whenever to get it. That's one thing I do for impulse buying. I allow one per trip. The other thing is if I pick something up in the store and I can't immediately think of 5 things to use it in, I just don't buy it. You know, especially if it's in a big container and it's not gonna last, it doesn't deserve the space in my fridge. So those are the 2 kind of mental checks I do when I am shopping to avoid just filling my cart with stuff I'm never gonna use, especially at Trader Joe's. Buying in bulk is cheaper, but I hate eating the same thing for too long. Yes, this is definitely an issue. When you are buying a lot of one ingredient, you're gonna have to have some repetition in order to use it up, and that kind of sucks. So the solution here is expanding your cooking techniques. The truth is, there are endless ways to treat a can of chickpeas or a piece of chicken breast. There are so many different things you can do with it. And luckily you can find tons of free resources right here on YouTube and online in recipes and cookbooks. You don't have to pay for a cooking course. You don't have to become a pro chef, but expanding your cooking techniques will help you get more variety in these repetitive bulk buy ingredients. So this is the last one. It's what happens when you keep having to buy a random ingredient for one recipe, and then of course you open your fridge and your fridge drawer is just full of these random little bottles of stuff you never use. Oh, that sucks. I hate that problem. I would say when in doubt, look up substitutions. So let's just say there's a recipe you want to use that calls for a paste or a sauce you can't find or you don't want to buy. Look up substitutes or even how to make it at home. For example, chili garlic sauce is something that I've actually made at home a bunch because one time I did buy it at Trader Joe's, like a big bottle, and it sat in my fridge for like 2 years. So now if I want to use chili garlic sauce, I just make a little bit and I use it in the recipe and I don't have to worry about the space in my fridge. So that's my advice for that question. All right, I've given you so many tips and tricks for saving money on food. I hope that at least one of these makes a difference. I hope one of these helps move the needle for you. If you like this video, throw me a like or a subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.